All set up.
2, 1.
Ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you?
It's time to flip a coin and find out.
Well, we need to know what we're calling it for here.
We're calling it to see who's got the best sports knowledge here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
And Jacob Zimmerman.
Flip it again.
Ha! Head!
Yeah, welcome into episode 42 of the Coin Flip podcast. You're here with Jacob Zimmerman and Martin Kelly.
What's going on?
So, today, Martin, today's July 12th. It's a Monday.
Yep.
It's another smoking hot day here in St. George.
Yes, it is.
Speaking of smoking hot, we got to talk about the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks in our NBA segment. We're giving you the rundown. After that, we got to talk about what happened to Team USA. And then we'll move on to the NFL, where, Martin, we're continuing on our NFL preview series. You have the Minnesota Vikings. I have the New Orleans Saints. Then we'll head on over to other sports, where, Martin, you're going to talk about NASCAR, the Battle of the Brothers. You'll talk about all about what that means, and then who won the NHL Stanley Cup. And then you're going to finish it off with a rant. Is that right?
Yeah, and also don't forget, we got to talk a little baseball here. MLB, we'll also mention that in the other sports here, because the home run derby, baby. Listen, the home run derby, Jacob, the way I look at the home run derby, I look at it as like basketball with their slam dunk contest. This is when guys just get to swing at baseballs, knock them out of the ballpark like they're just like throwing softballs at them, and we get to see how far they fly and how many you can hit in a certain amount of time. It's a lot of fun to watch, man. So we got to talk about all that. And then, yeah, I have the rant, a little sneak giveaway preview there as I'm trying to get my words together. I'm going to be talking about the NHL. There's a possibility of something, Jacob, you and I have never seen in our lifetime that possibly could happen for the first time in nearly 40 years.
Can't wait for it, man.
All right, let's get that NBA segment button in. Let's talk about the NBA.
Doncic pulls up, three-pointer. Bang! Bang! It's good! Doncic wins the game at the buzzer! It's off to Leonard, defended by Simmons. Is this the dagger?
Here's Michael at the foul line. A shot on Elo. Good! The Bulls win it! They win it!
3 and 2. LeBron to win the game. He does! He does!
The ball comes in. Cody's got it. Above the three-point line, taking a little bit of time. One dribble, pull up. For the win, he's got it! The Lakers win!
McKee gets it in the middle for the win.
With two, Wade puts it up for the win! Yeah, baby! Oh my, we are witnessing one of the great players to ever play in this league. And man, I hope it lasts for another 7, 8, 9 years, baby.
7, 8, 9, 10, 15, 16, 19.
You say it every time.
19 years is it going to be for LeBron James?
It'll be year 19 next year. That's correct.
Wow.
Still on top?
Yeah, we can have that debate for another day. You and I disagree with that.
But
Okay, just to cover that, since you teased me with that one, I'm not saying LeBron James is washed up. All I'm saying is the mantle of the best player in the game has been passed over from LeBron James over to Kevin Durant.
I can't wait to talk about KD here in a sec. But for now, we got to talk about the finals without LeBron James. The Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks. Martin, a lot of people wrote off the Bucks after the first two games. But in Game 3, sure enough, they bounced back, and they bounced back well, winning by 20 points in Game 3. 120-100 was the final score. And Martin, I'll let you take over this in a sec, but I thought it was interesting to see how well the Bucks fed off of their home crowd, how much Giannis fed off of nobody chanting 1, 2, 3 at the free throw line. So I thought they did a really good job bouncing back at home. What'd you think about it?
I thought they did an amazing job, and I think the sense that we got from the NBA Finals this year was we're looking at two teams we did not expect to get out of the second round. I may have thought the Bucks could have gotten to the third round, but there was no way in hell I thought they were going to get to the finals. And for Phoenix, I mean, they were the underdogs. They were the 2 seed against Los Angeles Lakers in the first round, Jacob. Against your mighty LeBron James Lakers, they were the underdogs. And yet they won that series coming back from a 2-1.
No, we were the Lakers this year, not the Lakers.
But they came back from a 2-1 deficit. So, to where my point is going with this is, Phoenix in the first 2 games did something that I think everybody else expected them to do, which was just to outshoot the Milwaukee Bucks and see whether Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday could live up to what they were expected to be coming into the finals. And last night, they lived up to their expectations. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are a better team at home, and I think the Phoenix Suns realized that they got in trouble last night. One, because DeAndre Ayton got into foul trouble last night. He didn't have a particularly good second half. I don't know why they didn't play Devin Booker a lot last night in the second half either. It felt like he was on the bench for most of the second half as well. And Chris Paul was really out there on his own, so Chris Paul really couldn't get this Phoenix Suns team to a 3-0 lead. Now that it's 2-1, Game 4 and Game 5 are still going to be in Milwaukee. 6 and 7 will be in Phoenix. I still think the Phoenix Suns are going to win, but also what helped Milwaukee last night, which went against them in Game 1 and 2, which was, Jacob, was second chance points and rebounds. They out-rebounded Phoenix last night, and they got more second chance points in the game last night. Chris Middleton, Drew Holiday took advantage of that last night. It was down to 4 points close to the end of the third quarter, and we're like, okay, this is where Phoenix is going to turn it on. And they never did. Milwaukee ran away with it. It was a 20-point win. And that's another thing we've seen in this finals. Every single game has been a double-digit win. No one has been so close that they've, scraped out a win. These mainly have been close to a blowout wins. And I'm a little excited about that, Jacob. I'm a little happy about that because that proves that the more dominant you are, the more points you put up, the more we look at that and say, wow, that is a good basketball team. These teams do deserve to be in the NBA Finals. This wasn't a fluke. These aren't 2 scrub teams that are going to make, scrap out a 76-75 win. These 2 teams have offenses. These 2 teams have expectations. They're living up to it. And I think, arguably, this is the best finals we've had since 2013 against the Spurs and the final as Spurs and the Heat. I really think this is the best finals we've seen since then.
So both teams, to me, get credit, especially because they did it the right way. They were organic. They built through the draft. They made trades to acquire better players and so and so. But I will stick by the thing on how both of these teams wouldn't be in the finals if not for injury. Anyways, as for this series, Giannis, back-to-back 40 bombs. I think he's solidifying this run as one of the better runs in NBA history for a player taking his team to the finals. Looking at how some of his key guys have underperformed in some key games, he said, nah, we're not going out today. Not tonight. Puts the team on his back. It was a shame it couldn't happen in Game 2 with that epic performance, and then followed it up with one just as well. And as for Giannis, the Suns need to finally build the wall. They've been playing one-on-one defense with him at Ayton, and as athletic and as gifted as Ayton can be, he's still no match for the 2-time MVP, Giannis Antetokounmpo. We saw the Raptors do it. We saw a lot of teams do it against Giannis, and something about Giannis is I've heard he will get frustrated late in games if they're not winning, and he will attack. And if you build that wall, it's going to make it a lot harder on him and his production. So I think that's a strategy we might see out of Monty Williams. As for D-Book, you mentioned he didn't play very much in the second half. Martin, there was a reason for that. He went 3 of 14 last night.
Yeah, I know.
1 of 7 from the three-point line. He got benched the entire fourth quarter. I think people are forgetting that Devin Booker, this is his first playoff run, guys. He is going to have the fact that he's came all this way without a game quite like he had the other night is very impressive. It was only a matter of time before this happens. And to be honest with you, Martin, I kind of expect a game similar to this happen again at some point in the series where D-Book doesn't play quite as well and the rest of the team follows suit. That is why I picked the Bucks in 7, and I'm actually sticking with that prediction even through the first 3 games. Holiday showed up at home. He was shooting the ball with confidence from 3. I was watching that game. I watched a good chunk of this game. I'm glad I did. And Middleton didn't really pop up on my screen, but looking at the box score, he did exactly what he needed to do. An efficient 18-ish points. That's all he needs. Holiday showed up as well, getting 20-plus for the first time in what seems like forever. Holiday, giving a holiday to Bucks fans.
I mean, you got to give it to, because also in this series, we've talked about it, the media has talked about it, and we've talked about it a little bit, is Budenholzer from the Milwaukee Bucks. Can he make adjustments? He's not the greatest in-game adjustment type coach, but he seems like a great adjustment type coach when he gets tape on you and says, okay, there's a new game plan we got to come up with. And it happened last night. And you mentioned Drew Holiday. He hit 3 massive three-pointers in that second half.
Yeah.
3, I think it was 3 in a row that he hit. Or it wasn't 3 in a row. But
all I know is when he went up to shoot the ball, it looked different from the other times he went to shoot the ball. He like rose up faster.
Yep.
Like the ball didn't arc as much, and it just went right in.
Also, with Giannis, I think little by little, we're erasing the narrative that Giannis is a great basketball player and he's a great regular season basketball player, and now he's in the conversation of he can do it in the playoffs as well. And he has shown, listen, past the first round, it was the first round. He beat up on a really bad Miami Heat team, but in the second round against the Nets, in the third round against the Atlanta Hawks before he got injured, and in these first 3 games against Phoenix, he has shown up. He has met every expectation we have had and beyond that. Like, how
about coming back from that injury?
There's only been 3 guys that have had back-to-back 40-plus point games. It is Shaquille O'Neal, LeBron James, and Giannis Antetokounmpo, who can add themselves to that name, to that list.
Michael did it too. But in the most recent history, in the last 20 years, that's 4 players, and you're talking about 3 legendary players of all time. Giannis, I don't know if he'll ever get to that legendary status, but he's adding to his name of the conversation of, I'm not just a regular season guy. I can do it in the playoffs as well. All right, Jacob, enough about the finals. We're having so much fun with it. Let's move on to Team USA. This is where you and I get to jab at each other just a little bit, because I started this a long time ago off this podcast of, where's LeBron James? Why does he get to rest? You know, why doesn't the potential GOAT of the game want to go win another gold medal? And now everybody's trolling Team USA because they lost to Nigeria 83-81 in an exhibition game before they leave to go to Tokyo to take on the Olympic Games. And all I know is, for the last week, all I've been hearing from you is, look, Kevin Durant can't do it. Look at that. Kevin Durant can't do it. All this conversation about Kevin Durant can't do it, but yet LeBron James is sitting on his couch. Wait. Are you saying that Jason Tatum, Zach LaVine, Brad Beal, Damian Lillard, bam, the list goes on and on and on, is not enough to beat Nigeria? Are you saying KD does not have enough help? Yes, he needs LeBron to beat Nigeria.
Yeah, get
out of here, man. This is on KD, bro. This is on your best player in the world.
LeBron James needs to stop promoting Space Jam 2 and go put on his Space Jam so he can go help Team USA.
He's already been there and done that. Man, he was on the team in 04, bro. He was on the team when KD was back in high school. Anyway,
the Redeem Team?
No, the Redeem Team was 08, technically. But anyway, if this was LeBron, you would be slandering him right now if he was on the team, and you know it. You know it. So how dare you say, LeBron, go and play? Man, big old L for KD, but
not too much slander. Not too much slander.
I'm not gonna hate on him for that, but because I realize the significance of this game is basically 0. Right? I'm just having my fun because once again, another point is added to my abundance of points. But I'm not worried about this team at all. I expect them to win the gold. Would I be shocked if they somehow didn't? No, anything could happen in one game of basketball. That is true. Injuries are a factor too. Hopefully nobody gets hurt in the Olympics. But keep in mind, what I've been thinking since this game, the dream team. What happened in their first ever scrimmage against those college kids? They lost.
That's true.
The best team arguably ever assembled in world history.
In any sport. I think in any sport, period, end of story.
Lost to a group of college guys. Now, these guys, a lot of them went on to be pros, but still, I mean, they end up losing, and then they come back the next game and just absolutely blow them out. And I expect something like that is going to happen tonight. You were saying before.
Yeah, Team USA tonight on Monday, July 12th, they're taking on Australia tonight. So
by the time you're hearing this, you would have basically heard what happened. But as for the Nigeria game, not too much to say on this because we know they're going to bounce back. But I think this was a great wake-up call that the guys all needed. And a little bit of that, not trying to step on any toes. When you have an open shot, just take it and make it, just like you do in the NBA games.
I think this is fun. I mean, listen, you and I will go back and forth between KD and LeBron forever, and we and I have fun about it. But yeah, I'm not too worried about this. Zach LaVine did go out with an ankle injury, but he did come back. It was a pretty scary ankle injury. For a moment, I thought he either snapped it or tore something. So my heart stopped for a second. I'm like, oh no, the Chicago Bulls are done. They're done. Uh-oh. So, but he's all right. He's all right. So, but it's one game. I mean, listen, exhibition games, guys aren't going to take it too seriously. We talked about it off air. When one team shoots 17 three-pointers and another team only makes 8 three-pointers, that's enough points to knock you off and surprise you and be like, oh my God, like we got to get some things fixed here. Greg Popovich will come up with a game plan to beat up on other teams, and he'll let his team get along with each other. So this isn't really something to worry about, but I just wanted to bring this up because it's a fun topic. Team USA, we're going to cover them a little bit later in the year because the Olympics and their expectations of how good they're going to be and whatnot. So let's move over to the NFL. Let's talk about the Minnesota Vikings, and let's talk about the New Orleans Saints. Let's go.
Sweet.
Ice up, son. Ice up.
Sanders still on his feet. Sanders is gone. Barr with daylight and time goes for the whole thing. Touchdown! Green Bay leads. Brett Favre. Rice. He's open. No flags are down. Touchdown. And here's a sack. Lawrence Taylor comes over the top.
Leon left. No.
DeLone fires to an open Smith. Steve Smith is going to go all the way. No flags down. Smith scores, and the Carolina Panthers win in overtime.
6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins.
He did what?
He did what?
He did what?
We've talked about this before on the podcast. I can't remember a moment, probably since Super Bowl 41, that I was like blown off my chair to see DeAndre Hopkins catch that football at the end of that game and win that game against the Bills. Like when Devin Hester returned the kickoff return in the first moment of the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts in that Super Bowl, I was like only 8-9 years old, and I was like, oh my God, what did I just watch? Mm-hmm. Like, that's the exact same feeling I had in that one. Speaking of football, we're going to continue our season preview series here all the way up until the very first kickoff of the NFL. So we're going to be doing this in August as well,
yes, sir.
Covering all of the divisions and trying to get as many teams we got. We're still covering the NFC North. We got one more teams to cover. We got to cover the Green Bay Packers and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. After this, we'll cover the NFC West and the AFC West. But Jacob, the New Orleans Saints have been a thorn in your side with the Carolina Panthers for a very, very, very long time. Jacob, the New Orleans Saints are going through a transition. No longer Drew Brees will be under center. It is a debate between Taysom Hill and Jameis Winston. What do you think the New Orleans Saints can do with a potential new quarterback under center for this team with Sean Payton?
props to Drew Brees, but I'm so glad we don't have to face him twice a year anymore. This is so great.
You salty hater.
This is so great. But props to Drew Brees, one of the best 10 quarterbacks of all time. That's undeniable. But let me get into the Saints here. So last year, they went 12-4, had a pretty good season, and was not able to make a whole lot of playoff success this year. As year after year, the story with the Saints is they look really good in the regular season. They start getting mentioned in Super Bowl conversations. People start picking them to win the NFC, and then they never win the NFC. Just watching you throughout that, Martin.
Just completely and utterly just go.
Just like a roller coaster. Saints fans have to be ripping their heart out every year knowing that they are right on the verge of winning another one, and it all slips away. And Drew Brees just couldn't take it anymore, and he hung it up. So as for the players they lost this offseason, they lost Drew Brees, they lost Emmanuel Sanders, Jared Cook, Malcolm Brown, they lost Quan Alexander, they lost Hendrickson, actually. They lost Janoris Jenkins, and they lost their punter as well, Thomas Morstead, as well as a few other guys. As for guys they retained, Jameis Winston, Ty Montgomery, Dwayne Washington, James Hurst, Will Clapp, Noah Spence, JT Gray, and PJ Williams. And then the players, some of the players they added, to be honest, they didn't really add a whole lot. So the Saints, their key guys, Michael Thomas, Alvin Kamara, whoever we get at quarterback most of the year. On defense, it's Jordan and it's Latimer leading the way. This roster is still really good, and this team is going to be in trade rumors for Aaron Rodgers and other quarterbacks who come about in free agency or trade rumors. This is a team that needs to go get another quarterback, I think, in the future. I don't think either one of these guys is the answer. But as for this next year, it's going to be kind of an interesting year. They're going to test out Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill. They're going to see if they can get any sort of combination to get working out of these guys. I think Hill's going to take quite a bit of snaps, but I think Winston is for sure going to have more pass attempts. I think that's not really a shocker. I don't trust Jameis a whole lot going into this year. I know he's had some time, and watching his off-season workouts does not make it any better. Apparently, he's had a few good practices with the Saints where his arm accuracy has looked really good, and if they're running a lot of checkdowns like they did for Drew, then maybe he won't throw that many picks this season. But I think just realistically looking at it, even though Drew Brees was beginning to slide down, I think going down to Winston or Hill is definitely still a regression from an old Drew. And so I have them going 8-9 this season, but having a lot of tough games, especially against my Carolina Panthers and the rest of the teams in this division.
Wow, you got them. So they went 12-4 last year, and you got them going all the way down to 8-9. Wow.
Well, they're winning only 4 less games this year. I think the Buccaneers probably going to sweep them. I think the Panthers will split. Now, they can beat the Falcons twice, but you never know. A game in Atlanta, you just never know what's going to happen. True. And then, it's just such a wild card because I think when Drew Brees has been away and we actually get to see the Saints, I think we're going to realize there were some holes that we didn't really realize that were there that Drew was actually covering up. Whether it be like actual play or whether it be in the locker room, we'll find out.
It's going to be kind of weird not to see Drew Brees on the field. It's like not seeing Peyton Manning on the field anymore. It's like, it's possible. This guy is no longer immortal. He is mortal. He is a human being amongst us. So I think the Saints.
What would you have them going?
I think the Saints are going to go 11-6. I think they're still going to win a lot of good football games. I still think they're going to be in the conversation for the division in the NFC South because I get your point that they're losing their quarterback, but their offense is still there with Michael Thomas and Alvin Kamara, who's going to dominate the ball all season. He's going to be a true high horse. He's your guy that's going to lead the entire offense. Michael Thomas is still there. If Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill do this tandem quarterback situation and it works enough to win 11 games and possibly get a wild card spot, we're going to look back on this and say, well, this was the best job Sean Payton ever did because he did not have Drew Brees. This defense is still good. Malcolm Jenkins is still there. Marshawn Lattimore is still there. PJ Williams is still there. Cam Jordan is still there. The core is still there. They got to add some things, but I still think the Saints are a good team. I think we're also overlooking this because we already think Tampa Bay is a runaway, and it's just a matter of who's going to finish second in the race. So I
got the Panthers finishing second. That's why I couldn't have the Saints at 10 wins, but I may come back to regret this pick.
Yeah, I think so. So let's touch on the Minnesota Vikings. Now I know this team very well, and we got our man Rustin Burnside, who cannot be with us today, who is a massive Minnesota Vikings fan. And Jacob, here's the thing about the Vikings. If Aaron Rodgers is still in the division, the Vikings are still going to be the little brother to the big brother of the Green Bay Packers and finish second in this division. If Aaron Rodgers leaves, the Minnesota Vikings are for sure the runaway favorites for this division because of their offense. Now, it's not coming down to their defense, it's coming down to their offense. Justin Jefferson lit up the NFL last year. I am regretting, Jacob. I am regretting. I picked this man in fantasy. I picked this man in our fantasy draft. I had him all lined up to be my fantasy number 2 receiver behind DK Metcalf. I had those two guys on my team. After 1 week, I cut him. I cut him because he didn't do anything. And I'm like, oh my God, this guy's gonna ride the bench all season.
You didn't even trade him.
I didn't exactly. I just let him go. And Devin Dixon picked him up and rode him all the way to the championship of our fantasy draft.
Didn't he win?
Yes, he did. And I regret that decision every single day because I could have had Justin Jefferson and DK Metcalf as my 2 receivers. Now, to my entire point about the Minnesota Vikings, Kirk Cousins will be Kirk Cousins, Dalvin Cook will be Dalvin Cook, and Justin Jefferson will be Justin Jefferson. They will be who they are. They are an offense that is not to be taken lightly. They are a good team. But defensively, a top 15 defense to me, Jacob, is not a serious hole on your team, but it's not. I just don't see that being good enough to win you the division. If I had to pick a prediction, I say 11-6 is going to be their mark. I say they're going to be that 11-win team, 10-win team, 10-7, 11-6. Going to hover around that, would probably win the division if Aaron Rodgers leaves. But if Aaron Rodgers stays with the Green Bay Packers,
which I think will probably happen at this point,
they will be a wild card team. They'll be fighting for that final wild card spot and will be trying to get into the playoffs, which I don't think is a bad thing to say about the Minnesota Vikings, considering we talked about the Chicago Bears, we talked about the Detroit Lions, about being question marks in this division. We do not know whether they are going to be the top teams or not. So I think the Minnesota Vikings will finish about 11-6 or 10-7.
I can't see them being quite that good. If Aaron Rodgers stays, I don't know if the Vikings will win more than 9 games. Okay. If he doesn't stay, then I'd say their cap is 10. I don't think they'll win any more than 10 games.
All right. That's fair enough. That is going to be our NFL segment because there's just not a whole lot of storylines to talk about. So we got the season. True. We got the season preview there. So let's move on to the other sports. Let me hit that button. Let's go.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
20 years of trying, 20 years of frustration. Dale Earnhardt will come to the caution flag to win the Daytona 500. And the ball is free. It's picked up by Michigan State's Jalen Watts Jackson, and he scores.
There's the pass to Leitner. Puts it up. Yes! With Konerko up. And he rips one in the left. Konerko, grand slam.
Sports here.
Jacob, we got a lot to cover. So first, let's start with the UFC. I will hand over the reins to you, my man, because you usually don't talk any other sports. It's mainly me. So, but I will hand over the reins to you, my man. What happened in UFC 264?
Forgot to put this in the rundown, but the other night, me, Martin, some buddies, we all went to B-Dubs, and we caught that McGregor fight. That's right.
We had to sit there for 3 hours to wait for this fight.
It was, Martin, here in St. George, it is so hot. The sun will go down, and it'll still be 100 degrees. I'm not lying to the listeners out there if you do not happen to live in St. George, Utah. Dude. Even with the mist going, even with the sun down, even with the little breeze, it was still so hot.
Dude, I went home. I have a gallon jug of water that usually sits in my fridge. I drank the entire gallon jug because I was just so damn hot.
Goodness. Anyway, as for the fight, we'll just talk about the main card. It started out, it was very memorable, this first fight, the main card. Sugar Sean O'Malley faces off Chris Mutino. Now, Martin, this was the fight where Mutino acts... I'm sorry, I'm laughing because he kept getting destroyed by Sean O'Malley, but credit to him, he did not fall down. He never fell down. There was a stoppage. They called a TKO, but he never actually hit the floor. I don't think I ever saw him hit the floor.
They stopped it with 30 seconds left in the fight.
But basically what happened throughout the fight, Sean just kept getting more and more momentum. And then before you know it, O'Malley is going on this massive, nasty tear with combinations every 30 seconds or so that were just lighting up Mutino, and he was not budging. His chin is one of the strongest I've ever seen in my lifetime. His face looked so messed up. They said his face looked like roadkill mid-fight. It was disgusting, but it was a really fun fight to watch. They stopped it with about 30 seconds left. You could argue maybe they should have let it go the end, but I think it could have been the right call. Then there was the female fight. I didn't watch that too much. We were kind of busy, but that one was entertaining. A knockout there in the first round with just a couple seconds left. Then Greg Hardy, former Carolina Panther, was fighting in the heavyweight division.
Transforming himself into a UFC fighter.
He was looking pretty good in this fight, and I think he was actually winning this fight up until the point where Tai Tuivasa just hit him and clocked him. And I was saying this, how some of these hits where they get quote unquote knocked out, I don't know if the hit is actually as bad as it looks, but when you lean in for a punch and you get hit and you fall right back and you don't even have time to get up before you're getting swarmed with punches on the top of your head, they're just going to call that fight, and it's exactly what happened to Greg Hardy. And then there was the Gilbert Burns, Stephen Thompson fight. I didn't watch that one too well, but it was a decision, and it went to Burns. And then the main event. We had been waiting all night for the main event of UFC 264 between Poirier and McGregor. McGregor won the first one. Years later, Poirier wins the second one in a knockout. And then last night,
this is the trilogy. You got to remember, we're building up to. We're building. Though, let's build this up a little bit to as a trilogy. They fought. Their first fight was when Conor McGregor got hot, and the second time they fought was 7 years later. They didn't fight like 6 months later. 7 years later, Dustin Poirier gets his second chance at Conor McGregor, catches him in that fight, and then the trilogy fight here. Who's going to get the rubber match?
And it was unfortunate to see. So the first round was pretty entertaining. In my opinion, Conor McGregor was getting his butt kicked. Let's just put it like that. I think he would have lasted to the second, maybe even into the third round. But unfortunately, there at the end of the first round, I'm not sure if it was on the kick where he hit Poirier in the elbow, or if it was on the pushing off to make a punch from that back leg. The point is, his leg had already cracked, and then, like, his ankle had already cracked, and then he went to step again, and he wasn't able to step, and basically his foot went underneath him, and that's where it broke even worse. And then McGregor fell back, took a bunch of punches. Before you know it, the round is over, and we're looking at McGregor's ankle and saying, that's the fight.
I'm telling you this. I've been watching UFC for a while. That would have been the greatest fight of all time. That was going to be the greatest fight of all time.
That was not going 5 rounds.
I'm not saying I was going to go 5 rounds, but that first round, as Conor McGregor got Poirier into a guillotine, there was some takedowns, there were some punches thrown. McGregor came out just flying with kicks at Poirier at the beginning of the round. Like, I'm telling you, if that thing went 3 rounds, that was going to be the greatest 3 rounds of UFC history right there and then. I'm telling you, that would have been amazing. You and I agreed both before that fight that Poirier was going to win that fight. I stand by that.
Yeah.
So
we had some buddies rooting for Conor, but I think Poirier, just all that time off between that first and second fight, really favors Poirier in that third fight. They are supposed to fight again. I'm not sure what the outcome of that will be, but I know that me and you will probably try to catch that fight once again.
We'll go back to B-Dubs. We'll have a good time. All right, Jacob. Let's move on to NASCAR here. Now, Jacob, do you have any brothers or sisters?
I have 2 sisters, older.
And I have a sister as well. She's younger than me. Now, siblings are always on a rivalry. They're always on a rivalry. Between me and my sister, between you and your 2 sisters, there's always that, I got to be better than my sisters. And in NASCAR, it is very, very rare to have brothers in the same sport. Now, Jacob, can I ask you a question here? Have you ever heard of Kyle or Kurt Busch?
Yes.
Do you know where they're from?
No.
They're from Las Vegas, Nevada, which is 2 hours south of us here in St. George, Utah. They grew up in Sin City, Las Vegas, Nevada, and are NASCAR drivers. Think about that. Guys that are from the dusty, hot sun, west Sin City of Las Vegas are NASCAR drivers. Now, Jacob, where am I going with this is Kurt Busch won the last race at Atlanta on the old configuration, on their old track. They're going to repave the track and reconfigure the track. And this has happened 4 times between Kurt and Kyle Busch. They have had a 1-2 finish. Now, Kurt Busch won this one. It is 2-2 matched up between both of them. And Kurt Busch got the last laugh, saying he taught his little brother everything. He beat Kyle Busch. We beat Kyle Busch. He got a little help from his teammate, Ross Chastain. He went up high in one corner and blocked Kyle Busch. And Kurt Busch went on the bottom and took the lead. And it was about 20 laps to go. And Kurt Busch just went by and just won the race. Now, I don't know about you, but if me and my sister did that, yeah, I would have moments of being like, son of a, she beat me? Or she would be like, there's no way he beat me. And you know what? A little sibling rivalry on a NASCAR track is a lot of fun to watch. It was a good race. Atlanta was a fun track to watch this time. I'm usually the guy that says Atlanta is boring because you cannot pass in that race, and still it was that. But nonetheless, it was a good race. Hats off to Kurt Busch winning his 33rd race of his career, tying him 25th of all time with Fireball Roberts on that list at 33 wins. The next race is at New Hampshire. In New Hampshire, in that track, so it's going to be a good one in that one. On to the NHL. The Tampa Bay Lightning win their 2nd Stanley Cup in a row, Jacob. They match only 2 other teams in the NHL that's done this in the last 25 years. The 1997 and 98 Red Wings won back-to-back, and the 2016 and 17 Pittsburgh Penguins won back-to-back. Now the Tampa Bay Lightning can say they have won back-to-back, and like their counterparts of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Remember when Tom Brady threw the Super Bowl trophy? Remember how Rob Gronkowski dented the Super Bowl trophy, batting it with a baseball coming at him? The Tampa Bay Lightning did the exact same thing today in their victory parade. They dented the Stanley Cup. Now, you would think that's the worst thing that has ever happened to the Stanley Cup. Jacob, I'm here to tell you that is not. The Montreal Canadiens won the Stanley Cup in the mid-30s, I believe it was. Don't hold me to that. I believe it was in the 30s. They were partying with the Stanley Cup. They were in the car with the Stanley Cup. This is why the Stanley Cup now has a person that goes with it everywhere it goes to make sure the Stanley Cup doesn't go missing. So the dude that walks around with the Stanley Cup and has to protect the Stanley Cup was in Tampa Bay watching the Tampa Bay Lightning have fun with the Stanley Cup today. And he watched them dent the Stanley Cup. Now back to my original story on the Montreal Canadiens. They pulled over. They were drunk. They pulled over and took a piss break. And in order to do whatever they were doing, I don't know what they were doing specifically, but they went into their trunk, found the Stanley Cup, threw it out into the snow, and they lost the Stanley Cup for a week.
What?
Yes.
Do they not make new ones every year?
No, the Stanley Cup is the Stanley Cup that has been for the last 60 years. So how the Stanley Cup works is there are rings on the Stanley Cup that are removed every single year. And they have the names of the teams that have won the Stanley Cup. So they have the name of the team, the year that they won, and they have all the players' names on the Stanley Cup. And every year a ring has been removed from the Stanley Cup to add more names to the Stanley Cup, hence they keep adding teams to the Stanley Cup. So in the 30s, point is, the Montreal Canadiens lost the Stanley Cup, were drunk on the road, they threw it into the snow, and they lost it for a week. They didn't know where it was, and they had to track back and find the Stanley Cup. Since then, the Stanley Cup has had someone follow them around every single year.
Well, I know in the NBA, I think they make a new trophy every year, which is smart. But
anyway, after that ramble, people are going to be like, what are you talking about, dude? You went on for so long for no reason. The Tampa Bay Lightning beat the Montreal Canadiens in 5 to win the Stanley Cup. Congratulations to them. On to the MLB. Tonight, on Monday, July 12th, the All-Star events are going on. Tonight is the Home Run Derby. Shohei Ohtani from the Los Angeles Angels is expected to be the runaway favorite.
oh yeah,
He will try to hit as many as he can. Tomorrow will be the All-Star game. The Chicago White Sox are being represented by 4 players in that. Congratulations to those 4 players representing. Shohei Ohtani, who's batting in the Home Run Derby, will be the starting pitcher for the AL tomorrow. So he gets to bat and pitch. Congratulations to him on that one. That is it for other sports. Let's get to that rant. Let's get going.
It's time for the moment you've been waiting for.
The one, the only, the rant.
Oh, you're about to go blasphemous.
Fighting a scorpion, and that is final.
Will you two shut up?
Oh my God, I don't care.
You will when we're done talking about the rant. Here on the Coin Flip with Martin Kelly
and Jacob Zimmerman.
That's right, the rant with Martin. That's me. Yep. Jacob. Jacob, you and I have watched a lot of dynasties over the years in the NBA, the NFL, the NHL. A lot of dynasties. I've seen a lot of dynasties. All right. I've seen the New England Patriots win 6 championships in 20 years. My Chicago Blackhawks won 3 Stanley Cups in 6 years. The Miami Heat, the Golden State Warriors, who won 3 championships in 4 years. The Miami Heat with winning 2 championships in 4 years. The San Antonio Spurs winning 2 championships in 4 years. You know, on and on and on. We've seen teams rise to expectations we never thought they could reach. And teams that have made it to that mountain and have fallen off so hard, they have never made it back. Now, where am I going with this, Jacob? Is the Tampa Bay Lightning just did something that 3 teams have only done in 25 years in the NHL, which is win back-to-back Stanley Cup finals. Now, not the team, but the sport with the longest drought of back-to-back champions is the MLB. That was the 1999 and 2000 New York Yankees. Since then, there has not been a repeat champion. In the NFL, Tom Brady owns that record. It's the 03 and 04 New England Patriots. He stopped Seattle from matching that mark in 2014 with that Malcolm Butler interception. That would have been the first back-to-back since then. Now, here's where I'm really going with this, Jacob. You and I have never seen a team win 3 in a row in our lifetime. The last time any team won 3 in a row in any 4 of the major market sports was the 1998, 1999, and 2000 New York Yankees when they won 3 in a row that year.
The Lakers
won 3 out of 4. They didn't win 3 in a row. They won.
Yeah, they did. They won 2000, 2001, and 2002.
Okay, there you go.
But,
sorry.
Yeah.
You get my point. All right, you got me on that one. But we have not seen it. You and I have been alive not to see it, dude. Not to see it. Yeah. Here's where I'm going with this. The Tampa Bay Lightning have a chance to do something that hasn't been done since the 80s of the New York Islanders, which is win 3 in a row and possibly 4 in a row. The mark in the NHL is only 4 championships in a row. The Montreal Canadiens, the New York Islanders, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Detroit Red Wings are the only teams in the NHL that have ever won 4 championships in a row in the NHL history. Jacob, I'm here to tell you that is possible with the Tampa Bay Lightning, who have already won back-to-back. This team is so good.
So
Jacob.
the Islanders...
1980, 81, 82, 83.
Who are contenders for next year's Cup? The Islanders, the
Lightning, the
Avalanche in it? Or the
Avalanche, the Vegas Golden Knights,
maybe the Hurricanes?
The Hurricanes, the Toronto Maple Leafs, the Boston Bruins. There's a good amount of teams that are going to be there. But I'm telling you this. The Tampa Bay Lightning are going to do it, dude. The Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win 3 and 4 in a row.
Is there a young up-and-coming star that I can get behind like Ohtani? Is there one of those?
I mean, on your Carolina Hurricanes, there's a bunch of them. Sebastian Aho, you can get behind. Martin Nichas, you can get behind.
Maybe I just need to watch a hockey game first.
But the point of all of this, Jacob, is we have not seen a 3-peat champion in our lifetime. We almost had a 3-peat champion.
Golden State,
but that was stopped because some guy in a jersey name with 23 on the back trying to be the next 23, which he could never be at all the next 23 whatsoever because there's only one 23.
No. The reason they didn't 3-peat was because KD got hurt and so did Clay in 2019.
That one too, but anyway, the point is, Jacob, I think it can happen. And for anybody to win 3 championships in a row, Jacob, it's just absurd. That's an absurd domination. You're just a stranglehold on the entire sport. You're just we own all the championships. You ain't got nothing on any of us. We dominate this sport and just go away. Whoever's going to finish second will finish second to us. And that is incredible in itself because the first one for the Tampa Bay Lightning last year took 6 games. It only was 6 games by accident. And this year it was by 5 games, which should have been 4 games, but they lost Game 5 to Montreal in Montreal, and the rest is history. They went to Game 5, and they won that game. So they lost Game 4, and they came back and won Game 5, and they won that one pretty significantly. They can win 3 in a row. I think they can win 4 in a row, and I'm saying it right here. I think they can win 5 in a row. They will match that mark. That mark has not been matched since the Boston Celtics of the NBA, in which they won 7 championships in a row in the early 60s. So, with wrapping this all up in a really nice bow tie, the Tampa Bay Lightning have a chance to just be in utter domination over the entire NHL sport. It does not matter who comes out of any direction. It does not matter what you put on your roster. The Tampa Bay Lightning will win the Stanley Cup again.
Stay tuned for the Dynasty, folks. I'm Jacob. That's Martin. This is episode number 42 of the Coin Flip, and it's just hit the books.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. Peace.
Later.